Good morning and welcome to the Dan Beasley Show. Today's show is about contemporary news items in the news and that have not been broadcast yet through major media outlets. Today's news, we're going to start by discussing the matter with Kirk Cameron. Kirk Cameron everyone remembers him from Growing Pains. He was Mike on Growing Pains. He spent a good number of years with that show. It was a very popular show, him and Alan Thicke and Tracy Goldman and also a few others that were on there. Anyway, Joanna Kearns, she was another one, and Miss I can't remember the younger girl's name, but anyway, everyone remembers Growing Pains. It was a very, very popular show where Kirk Cameron turned into an evangelist, and he is now making movies for YouTube and Facebook, and also has released them through major video outlets. And the Growing Pains actor turned evangelist is celebrating after his YouTube and Facebook decisions have both reversed choruses, and they lifted their bans on the trailer of this new evangelical themed documentary called Unstoppable, after the company cited the promo for allegedly violating their respective policies concerning spam. Because of your firm, loving, and clear voice, not only did Facebook welcome us back, YouTube also removed its block on our Unstoppable movie trailer. We're back online with full access. Thank you, Cameron wrote on his last Facebook page on last Friday. Our next item for today is first day of parenting faces William and Kate. This is the royal baby that everyone waited so long for. It turns out it was a son, and it was born yesterday. And it's day one of parenting for Prince William and Kate. After the excitement and fatigue of joy of childbirth, emotions were shared with the nation. The young couple is expected to bring the prince home today. It's a daunting moment for any young couple, even one with as much support as the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. The infant's name and what it looks like remains a royal mystery. And as he begins his long journey, expected to see him someday to become king. Britons and supporters from around the world have been joining the royal family in celebration. Next news segment is M21 fighter jets have been reported to be shipped from Cuba to North Korea. Everyone knows that North Korea has been doing some saber rattling against the United States and has been pushing their agenda, trying to get their selves across as being a major military power in that section of the world. Christian Science Monitor is reporting this. The MiG-21s have been reported to have been intercepted during shipments, and it turns out that the website has been blocked, of course, for some reason. We do not know why, so I'll go to another source for this information. In the meantime, let us discuss the matters. Okay, here we go. Russian fighter jets. A MiG-21 is a Russian fighter jet. It is one of their most advanced jets. It's a lightweight single-engine fighter. It was used in Vietnam. It was against the coalition forces in the Gulf War. MiG-21 has entered service since 1959, and nearly 60 countries over 4 continents have flown the MiG-21. The jet still services many nations more than half a century after its inaugural flight, and it's capable of speeds of Mach 2. And it's known as a Russian test pilot's first love. The aircraft's simple controls, weapons, engine, and avionics are typical of the Soviet-era military designs, although technologically it's inferior to more advanced fighters. MiG-21's low production and maintenance costs make it a favorite of nations buying Eastern Bloc military hardware. It's the first supersonic jet. It's the most produced supersonic fighter jet in aviation history. So we have that news coming out of North Korea. They seem to be preparing for war. They have been doing missile tests, and they have been pursuing a nuclear program for a nuclear device that they can detonate, and also been threatening the region with the U.S. Presence there. And they have they're flexing their muscles now and showing what they can and cannot do. So anyway, we will keep you apprised of any further news developments as they take place. Another news item today is Fox News parent company is funneling funds to the Democrats. Everyone knows that Fox News is fair and balanced news. Fox News Company is owned by George Soros in part, but it's also owned by Rupert Murdoch News Corporation. And the Wall Street Journal and the New York Post, for example, is a bastion for conservatives. And this has been one of the biggest leading news sources for a lot of conservatives in the country, according to the data accumulated from the Federal Election Commission by the Center for Responsive Politics and published on OpenSecrets.org. The total contributions by News Corp, political action committees, employees, and families favored Democrats by more than 2-to-1 margin in the 2012 election. Similarly, News Corporation contributions favored Barack Obama over challenger Mitt Romney by more than 5-to-1 margin. All by itself, News America Holdings, News Corp's Political Action Committee was more fair and balanced in its contributions, but still granted 52% of its more than $300,000 spent on federal elections to Democrats and 48% to Republicans. Top 3 recipients of the campaign cash from News Corp in 2012 were in order: the Democratic National Committee, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, and the Democrat presidential incumbent Obama. So that comes as a shocker, and I'm sure it comes as a shocker to the people that are on Fox News that are heading their anchor desk today. The Chinese apparently have given up on trying to control the Panama Canal. They have been given a lease, a 10-year lease on it, and now that's expiring. The Chinese are saying, forget Panama, they want a new canal in Latin America. So the project is offering security and geostrategic risk for the U.S. And this news, excuse me, is coming from WorldNet Daily. And it said, inside of Washington, it says, after a recent discovery of North Korean ship carrying missile components from Cuba, alarm is growing in the U.S. over security and geostrategic implications of a Chinese plan to build a canal through Nicaragua, according to Joseph Farrow's G2 Bulletin, which is from WorldNet Daily. The proposed project would compete with the Panama Canal for ocean-going traffic between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Under virtual Chinese control, a Nicaragua canal would make it impossible for the U.S. to hunt for contraband or keep enemy ships from entering the Latin American region, which the U.S. considers to be in its sphere of influence. Already, the unfriendly Russians and Chinese and Iranians are increasing their presence in the region. The Nicaraguan government of President Daniel Ortega, the leftist Sandinista National Liberation Front, has closed ties with all three, raising growing U.S. geostrategic problems. Nicaragua has entered into discussions with the Chinese Hong Kong-based HK Nicaragua Canal Development Investment Company to develop and eventually operate a $40 billion canal through the Central American country. The company would have a 50-year lease to operate it. And moving on to our next news item. This was a big shocking surprise to a lot of people when Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano announced that she would resign her post later in the year. But a long-time constitutional attorney says there's not much to applaud, especially for anyone concerned about preserving freedom and limiting government intrusion in their lives. What the Department of Homeland Security became under Janet Napolitano is this monstrous surveillance and very intimidating group, said the Rutherford Institute president John Whitehead, a constitutional attorney for the last 40 years and an author of a book called A Government of Wolves, the Emerging American Police State. How prophetic that title is. I think originally there were some good intentions with the Department of Homeland Security, but what happened under Presidential Obama is that it accelerated rapidly. Whitehead told WorldNet Daily, I criticized George Bush's policies under President Obama. We're zooming. Whitehead said Napolitano's legacy of reducing freedom is evident across the board, starting in early 2009. When the department issued a report listing returning soldiers as one of the greatest threats to American security. I don't know if you remember that or not, but they were called terrorists or potential terrorists. Another program Napolitano set up was Operation Vigilant Eagle, which is a surveillance system done on all returning veterans from overseas, where they watch Facebook posts, text messages, emails of returning veterans to see if they're going to be disgruntled. Whitehead said, and there are quite a few disgruntled veterans. In fact, one that we helped just filed a major lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security. They arrived one day at his door, arrested him, put him into a mental institution for his Facebook post criticizing the government. We got him out and we sued the government, Whitehead said. Another outrage, according to Whitehead, is the harassments of Americans living on or somewhat near our national borders with Mexico and Canada. He said law-abiding citizens have been forced to hand over their laptops while the government officials download the info. The Rutherford Institute has also received reports of Americans being removed from their cars and searched without probable cause. These allegations and criticisms of drones use near the borders come as Congress hotly debate immigration reform legislation. Whitehead said the problem he is talking about has nothing to do with border security. Moving on to the next news item, we all know where Chicago is. It's in the state of Illinois. And guess what? It has the strictest gun control in the entire country. Well, just this past weekend, guess how many people died in the city of Chicago, in Ramaland. This is Rahm Emanuel that we're talking about here, Rahm Emanuel land. 6 dead, 22 wounded. 6 men were killed and at least 23, including a 6-year-old, were wounded in shootings across the city Friday night. Asked Sunday about Chicago's reputation in the wake of another violent weekend, Mayor Rahm Emanuel said he's primarily concerned about the safety and security of our neighborhoods and our residents. He again pushed for a 3-year sentence and minimum for gun crimes, calling it the weak link in the city's crime-fighting strategy, and says it's time to replace the code of silence with a moral code. Bloodstains on a concrete roadway marked the site where Donald Lewis, 25, of the 2600 block of West 12th Place, was fatally shot outside a group of boarded-up Cabrini Green Row homes, where on the north side early Sunday. He was taken to a Northwestern Memorial Hospital where he died at 5:35 a.m. Police said a 23-year-old man was shot in the leg and treated at Northwestern, police said. They were shot about 4 a.m. Sunday in the 500 block of West Pearson. A neighbor who asked not to be named said Lewis was hanging